I'm here to tell you about all the news that most of you have been waiting for. As of today, April 19th, visitors from the US and a couple of other countries can enter Greece without quarantining if you present either a negative PCR test taken in the last 72 hours, you have been vaccinated and can provide a certificate in English. You won't have to stay in a hotel for 7 days. This is a big change because up until today, people from the US weren't allowed in at all, even if you had all of these things and were still willing to quarantine for 7 days. So not only is it applied to Americans, it also applies to people from the EU, because even though people from the EU were allowed to come in, they still had to quarantine for 7 days. So if you come from the EU, the US, the UK, the UAE, Serbia, and Israel, and you either have been tested negative in the past 72 hours or have been vaccinated, you no longer have to quarantine for 7 days. So that's super exciting news. I feel like this is a big deal that we will begin to open to tourists, and that hopefully that also means that we will be allowed to do things here in Greece. So the other countries that are still allowed in but still have to quarantine are Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Rwanda, Singapore, and Russia. I'm not quite sure why the designation has been made between the differences between these two lists. I know that some of this has been reached by agreement between Greece and or the EU and these other countries, so that could be part of the reason. You still may be possibly tested when you arrive. They haven't ruled that out. You still also have to fill out the passenger locator form, no matter where you're coming from. I will link to that passenger locator form down below, because that's something that you have to have no matter where you're coming from. What does that mean exactly if you want to come to Greece between now and say May 14th? Well, right now we're still in a lockdown. Some things are open, so you can visit archaeological sites, you can go to the beach, but restaurants and bars are not open and museums are still not open. Now, they're aiming to open the museums by May 4th, and there are rumors that restaurants will open after Easter. I'm assuming that once they open the museums and everything, they'll want those restaurants to be open so that tourists can come and actually eat. You may have seen some news that some Dutch and German tourists came and were allowed to go to, I think it was Rhodes and to Crete. Here's the thing, they had to stay in their resort. They couldn't leave the resort they went to. It wasn't like they were gallivanting around. And EU members obviously had not been banned from coming. So even though they were tourists, they technically were never banned from coming. Right now, we still have to send text messages when we leave the house. I keep hearing that people who are tourists don't have to do this, but it's not in any official documentation. However, I've never been stopped. I've been here during both lockdowns and I've never had to show this text message to anyone. So, and this goes for my Greek friends as well. Like, most of us have never been stopped. So I don't know what that's gonna be like as this goes on. The other thing is we are still wearing masks inside and outside. So my advice is, if you are wanting to come to Greece, I would wait a little bit longer, because right now it's still kind of tricky. And if you come, you're gonna have some restrictions placed upon you. Even though you may not have to send the text message, whatever that rule is, you're probably still gonna have to wear a face mask. Like, that's probably not going away. And I actually think that the face mask rule will stay through the whole summer, and that anytime you're inside, you will have to wear one. I think the outside requirement will slowly go away, but the inside one will stay. And there will probably be no indoor dining this summer. Not that anybody eats inside in the Greek summer anyway, so it's not a big deal. Most of us are sitting outside enjoying the beautiful Greek weather in the summer, so it's not a big deal. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comments and I will do my best to answer. Remember, I am not an official. I don't always know the correct answer, but I will do my best to find the correct answer for you. All right, guys, I'll see you on Wednesday.